Hi, so I'm speaking on behalf of Greening and Streaming. We are another new not-for-profit organisation. So our mission statement, as you can read there, we're basically stepping up to raise the awareness around the environmental issues of the streaming industry, to ask our members to spread best practice amongst themselves, and then act as a collective voice towards industry, to media and the public. So Greening of Streaming was founded principally by Dom Robinson, who's been in the sector for his working life for the last 20 years or so. And he's working for Ideas software company, and they're working in the streaming industry, providing bespoke software for video streaming. And they've kind of looked at the issue of sustainability and said, you know, we're burning a lot of power here. How can we do something about this? So it's gained traction, and they've decided that they'll set up Greening of Streaming as a completely standalone entity. So again, completely unaffiliated to anyone else. And because it's taking up time, I've stepped in to help them out as the executive director to get it off the ground. And the aim is to bring together members at all levels of the streaming industry, anyone who's involved in the supply chain across it, and to bring them together with the public and policymakers, and to act as a mouthpiece to the media to share what we're doing. Over the last years, obviously, it's a fairly new industry. So initially the focus was performance. How can we make things quicker? Subsequently, the next stage is to focus on the price. How can we make it cheaper for people to get what they want? And so the next block is to raise the focus of the sustainability. Where there are many changes that the industry can make, and part of it is educating the public and ask them what changes will be acceptable. So why focus on streaming? Current estimates are that 3/4 of the traffic on the internet is streaming. It's currently assumed to be using 2 to 3% of global energy, which is broadly in line with the aviation industry. Obviously, the last year has seen a step change in how we're all consuming our streaming. So we've all been locked down at home. Streaming has changed our lives. We've been able to use it for entertainment. We've been able to use it to replace work meetings, doing what we're doing now with our Zoom calls. So it's a good thing, but a lot of the public aren't aware that there is still an impact. So currently, estimates are that an hour of streaming is the equivalent of driving 1/4 of a mile in your car. So although we're not driving as far in the car, there is still an impact, and we need people to understand that. And it's only a matter of time till the industry is focused on. Obviously, over the last year, people have been starting to talk about cryptocurrency, and there's a lot of shared infrastructure. And at the moment, the public obviously seem to consider cryptocurrency with some suspicion. Not everyone's involved. They see banks of servers in China, or obviously that stopped in the last couple of weeks. But people haven't considered that their own impact of streaming. So it will become a focus, and we want to be there to explain to the public what the industry is doing about it. So Greening of Streaming is a not-for-profit company, and all monies received must be ploughed back into growing the business and extending its aims. We're members-led, so we've set up our first board, as it were, of founder members, and they are steering the organisation for the first year. At the end of the first year, we'll allow members to nominate, others step down, replace. But to start with, we needed some stability. So our founder members have got together and they're steering the goals for the first year. They've also agreed that the members must step up and deliver. So there's no greenwashing. Just being a member of Greening of Streaming doesn't absolve you of responsibility. And they've all pledged to share best practice where they can and ensure that we actually deliver in our goal of improving sustainability. And as a result of all the changes we make, Greening of Streaming will be communicating with the media and the public to explain what we're doing to improve sustainability within the industry. Currently, we've set up, so we only founded our launch in October. So we've set up our first working groups. The initial one was to create a lexicon working group. At the moment, there are many different ways of reporting. People are using different terminologies. People have different calculations. So we wanted to find a consistent way of reporting what the industry is doing. Our next working group is based on outreach. So it's canvassing members for questions for our parliamentary launch, which I'll come on to in a minute, and to engage their contacts, because we only win if we all win. So we need to sign up as many people as possible, and that way we can have a big impact on sustainability. Given that we're using up to 3% of global energy, a very small change in the way we work can make a big impact in terms of power savings. The next group that was agreed is going to be commissioning an academic paper, an independent academic paper, and we want to definitively understand how much power the industry is using and try and understand the current position, so that any changes that we as a group make, we can actually measure the change that we're having, and sustainability can be measured and fed back. So part of what we're about is communication. And to that end, we've undertaken a formal launch at the UK Houses of Parliament on the 8th of December. So this is already booked up, and we're inviting our members to come along. And we're engaging with the MPs, and we're being sponsored by one of the MPs, and they'll host the meeting, as it were. And the idea is that because we're holding it on a parliamentary voting day, we should get a lot of footfall from other MPs who are interested. Obviously, it's very current with COP26 happening. So we'll be inviting MPs and also the press. We're working with a lobbying company, Political Intelligence, who hold lots of events, and they've already managed to get us impact with the British press. So we've been interviewed by a couple of the mainstream newspapers, and we've been interviewed by the BBC on one of their radio programs. So we're getting the message out of what we're about. At this stage, we're signing up members. And we're particularly grateful for Intel Akamai, who from the outset have been very, very supportive and really enabled us to engage with many other companies. And I would welcome anyone to come and talk to us. And we're really interested in sharing best practice and trying to develop sustainability across the streaming industry. So if there are any questions, I would love to take them.
Hi, Adam. Thanks. I don't think there are questions. Let me double check.
That's okay.
Yeah, is it possible to know the source of the figures shown in the sustainable pitch? So there are figures mentioned.
So DIMPAC have we've been in touch with Dan Sheen from Bristol University. And he's affiliated with Bristol University, and he spoke at our launch event. And certainly he's involved in sustainability. I think with the BBC he did a big study for, and at this stage that's the figures that are being touted. But partly, you know, this is why we want to engage with get our own proper academic study to definitively identify what the streaming industry is using, and so that we can measure our impact.